Don't bring your children. They'll ruin the family cruise send-off, my brother said, sliding me a single ticket while his kids got matching outfits. I smiled and said, understood. That night, I called the event planner and canceled the $21,500 catering hold under my card. By sunrise, Dad was on speakerphone whispering, "The guests are already arriving." The single ticket was sitting on my mother's kitchen counter between the salt shaker and a stack of party napkins printed with anchors. Drake slid it toward me with 2 fingers the way you slide a receipt across a counter to someone you expect to sign without reading. 1 ticket. 1 name. Doyle Fenton. Adults only. No +1s, no children. Behind Drake, hanging from the pantry door, were 2 sets of matching outfits in dry cleaning bags. Ralph Lauren. Navy blue with white piping. 1 for Max, age 10. 1 for Dot, age 7. Each outfit had a monogram tag pinned to the hanger, Fenton Family Cruise 2026. My kids were not on the hangers. My kids were not on the ticket. My kids were in my truck outside, eating gas station trail mix and waiting for me to come back from what I thought was a quick stop to finalize the party timeline. Dad was at the table with a cup of coffee and a legal pad full of seating arrangements. Irving Fenton. 64. Retired postal route supervisor. He did not look up when Drake handed me the ticket. He knew. Mom was at the sink rinsing glasses she had already rinsed. Betsy Fenton. 62. She did not turn around. She knew too. Celine stood in the doorway to the living room with her arms folded and her chin lifted the way it lifts when she has approved a decision and is watching it be delivered. 4 people in the room. All of them knew before I walked in. The ticket was not a last-minute decision. It was a consensus. Drake put his hands flat on the counter and leaned forward. He was 36, 3 years younger than me. Sales director at a medical supply company. He wore fitted shirts and drove a leased BMW and had never once in his adult life gotten dirt under his fingernails unless he was gardening in the raised bed Celine designed. Doyle, I need you to hear this the right way. The send-off party is Friday night. 60 guests. The Palmetto Room. Celine's parents are flying in from Pontevedra. This is a big moment for our family. A big presentation. He paused. He wanted me to nod. I did not nod. Your kids are great. They are. But Nico knocked the centerpiece off the table at Easter and laughed about it. Lainey spills her drink at every family dinner like it is a talent. Celine's parents are refined people, Doyle. They do not need to spend an evening watching your kids crawl under tables and eat with their hands. I ordered matching Ralph Lauren for Max and Dot. Your kids would show up in cargo shorts and sneakers. 1 ticket. Come alone. Smile for the photos and be grateful you were invited at all. He delivered that in front of Mom. In front of Dad. In front of Celine. In a kitchen 11 feet from the front door, where my 11-year-old son and my 8-year-old daughter were sitting in the truck, eating trail mix and waiting for their father. Your kids crawl under tables and eat with their hands. Cargo shorts and sneakers. Be grateful you were invited at all. Dad turned a page on his legal pad. He did not look up. Mom rinsed the same glass for the 3rd time. Celine adjusted her necklace. Nobody in that room defended my children. Nobody flinched. I picked up the ticket. I looked at it. 1 name. 1 seat. At a party I was paying for. At an event funded by the $27,700 sitting on my Fenton Demolition American Express card. The catering. The venue. The bar. The photo wall. All of it. Mine and the man telling me my children were not welcome had not contributed a single dollar. The tiger cowrie shell from Lainey's collection was in my truck console. She had found it at Jacksonville Beach last summer and given it to me because it had a chip on the edge, and she decided chipped shells needed someone to hold them. I could picture it in the cup holder next to the gear shift. I could picture Lainey's face when I walked back to the truck and she asked how it went. I almost said it all right there. Almost put both hands on the counter and told Drake exactly how much of his family's lifestyle was running on my credit card. But Nico and Lainey were 11 feet away in the truck, and the windows were down in sound carries in March in Jacksonville when the air is warm and the street is quiet. So I folded the ticket and put it in my jacket pocket. Understood, I told him. I smiled. I walked out. I got in the truck. Nico looked up from his trail mix. What did Uncle Drake want? Just party stuff. Lainey held up a peanut. Can I have more? You can have the whole bag. She grinned. She did not know that in 9 days she would be the reason 60 people ate pizza under a cruise banner. She did not know she was worth more than every matching outfit in that kitchen. She just wanted another peanut. I drove home with the ticket in my pocket and the shell in the console and the sentence crawling through my skull. Be grateful you were invited at all. The traffic on Beach Boulevard was light for a Thursday evening. The streetlights were coming on in that slow sequence they follow when the sun drops behind the tree line and the sky goes from blue to orange to gray. I drove past the Fenton demolition yard, past the strip mall on Emerson we were scheduled to tear down next week, past the Cuban bakery where Carver buys kolaches every morning, past the elementary school where Lainey had won a reading award last month and stood on a stage in cargo shorts and sneakers and held the certificate with both hands and smiled at me from the third row. Cargo shorts and sneakers. The same outfit Drake used as evidence that my children would ruin an evening. Lainey had won an award in those cargo shorts. She had read 14 books in a semester and stood on a stage and been applauded by 200 people, and nobody in that auditorium noticed what she was wearing because they were too busy noticing what she had done. I pulled into the driveway and sat in the truck for 2 minutes with the engine off. Nico unbuckled first. Lainey followed. They went inside. I stayed. The Tiger Cowrie sat in the console, catching the last of the streetlight through the windshield, chipped edge facing up. Lainey had placed it that way on purpose because she said the chip was the interesting part. If you are watching this story and you have ever had someone steal from your child and tell you it does not matter, you are in the right place. Welcome to Family Secret Tales. Friday morning, 1 week before the party, I called Royal Caribbean from my office at the Fenton demolition yard on Phillips Highway. 3 excavators in the lot. 1 dumpster truck. Carver Dunn's hard hat on the hook by the door. The Tiger Cowrie shell was on my desk next to the phone. Lainey had insisted I take it back to work because she said it missed the truck. I need to confirm my booking. Confirmation number Fen 441 Doyle Fenton. The agent typed for 15 seconds. The keyboard clicks were the only sound in the office besides the compressor running outside. Mr. Fenton, I see the booking. However, the cabin originally assigned to your confirmation was reassigned 3 weeks ago. Reassigned by whom? The modification was made by a Drake Fenton using your confirmation number. The cabin was transferred to a reservation under the name Greer, Harold and Diane Greer. I sat in my desk chair and let that settle. I put my hand flat on the desk, the way I put my hand flat on a surface when I need something solid under my fingers before I respond. The cabin I had paid $8,600 for. The one I booked for me, Nico, and Lainey. 2 twin beds and a pull-out and a porthole window that Lainey had already picked out from the cruise line's website. She had bookmarked the photo on my laptop. She had told Nico they could take turns sleeping by the porthole. Reassigned to Celine's parents. Without my knowledge. Without my signature. Without a phone call or a text or a conversation at the kitchen counter where Drake handed me a single ticket and told me to smile. My children had been removed from the ship 3 weeks before they were removed from the party. There are also supplemental charges on your card tied to this booking, the agent continued. Shore excursion package, $1,800. Premium drink package for 2, $1,400 but. Specialty dining reservations for 7 nights, $1,600, all added by the same modifier. Drake Fenton, $4,800 in charges I never approved, added by my brother to my business credit card through the cruise portal. On top of the $8,600 cabin, on top of the $27,700 party costs. $42,500 total. My brother had turned my Amex into the family's open tab and told me to be grateful I was invited at all. I almost called Drake right then, almost let the total fly across the phone, and watched his sales director confidence collapse. But I needed to understand how wide the conspiracy went. So I picked up the shell from my desk, held it in my palm, and called Mom. Doyle, what is wrong? Her voice was warm and careful, the voice she uses when she knows something is coming and wants to redirect it before it arrives. The voice that has been managing my expectations since I was old enough to notice that Christmases at the Fenton house always seemed to have more boxes under the tree on Drake's side. The single ticket. Was that just Drake's idea? 3 seconds of nothing. Then Mom exhaled the way she exhales when she has been holding a piece of information in her chest and it is getting too heavy to keep. I could hear the kitchen clock ticking behind her. I could hear Dad turning a page on something. They were both home. They were both listening. We all agreed, Doyle. It was not just Drake. Your father and I talked about it. We discussed it over dinner last week. Celine's parents are very particular about social events. They attend fundraisers in Ponte Vedra. They belong to a country club. We need the evening to go smoothly and to present a certain image. Your children are wonderful, but they are active, and the outfits would not match. Active. That was the word she chose. Active. As if Nico's laughter at the Easter table was a behavioral issue and Laney's spilled cup was a diagnosis. As if being 11 and 8 and alive and present and engaged with the world was something that needed to be managed out of a room so that strangers from Ponte Vedra could eat shrimp cocktail without being reminded that children exist. You excluded my kids from a family event because their clothes would not match Ralph Lauren. It is not about clothes, Doyle. It is about the impression. The Greers are important to Drake's career. Celine specifically asked us to keep the evening polished. We thought one ticket was the most gracious solution. Gracious. I let the word sit. You thought it was gracious to give me a single ticket to a party I am paying for and tell me to leave my children at home so that Drake's in-laws can eat dinner without being distracted by an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old. They will have a lovely time at home. We will bring them souvenirs from the cruise. Souvenirs from the cruise I am paying for. Silence. The clock ticked 3 times. Then, what do you mean? The cabin, Mom. The $8,600 cabin I booked for me and my kids. Drake called the cruise line 3 weeks ago and moved it to the Greers. He used my confirmation number. He did not ask. He did not tell me. The Greers are sleeping in my cabin. And there's another $4,800 in charges I never authorized. Excursions, drink packages, dining reservations, all billed to my card by Drake. Mom's voice thinned. The warmth drained out of it the way confidence drains out of a person who realizes the version of events they have been maintaining has a hole in it that someone else can see. I did not know about the extra charges. But you knew about the cabin. 2 seconds. I knew the Greers needed a cabin. They needed my cabin. The one on my card. The one I was paying for with my demolition business account while I was tearing down a strip mall and eating lunch in my truck because I was too busy working to check my Amex statement. I will talk to Drake about the charges. You will not need to. I hung up. If you have ever found out your own family budgeted you out of their plans while spending your money to host them, subscribe to Family Secret Tales and hit the bell. Monday morning. Carver Dunn killed the excavator engine at the Emerson Avenue strip mall demo and climbed down from the cab. He pulled off his gloves and walked across the site to where I was standing by the truck with my phone in my hand and a look on my face that Carver has seen exactly twice in 18 years. Both times right before I pulled a permit and brought a building down ahead of schedule. How bad? Carver asked. He set his gloves on the hood and leaned against the fender. $42,500 bad. Catering, venue, cruise cabin. Unauthorized charges. All on my card. Drake moved my kid's cabin to Celine's parents, billed $4,800 in extras without asking. And Mom confirmed the single ticket was a family decision. All of them. Together, they sat in that kitchen and agreed that my kids would ruin the evening because Nico might knock over a centerpiece and Lainey might spill her drink. Carver was quiet for 10 seconds. He looked at the strip mall behind us. The roof joists were exposed. The interior walls were gone. The only thing still standing was the load-bearing column on the east side, the one we were scheduled to pull on Wednesday. "What is the beam?" he asked. "The catering hold." $21,500. If I pull my card, Monica Ives cannot staff the event. The venue's food service permit requires a licensed caterer on site for events over 30 guests. No caterer on record means no food, no bar, no wait staff. The party becomes a room with a banner. Carver looked at the load-bearing column. Then he looked at me. "When?" "Thursday night, after the 48-hour cancellation window on the venue deposit. I lose $2,400 on the deposit. I keep everything else. And the cabin charges? The unauthorized extras? Amex dispute. Drake's name is on the cruise line's modification log. He used my confirmation number. That is fraud." Carver pulled his gloves back on, one finger at a time, the way he always does when he has heard what he needs to hear and is ready to go back to work. "You are not swinging a hammer at this, Doyle. You are reading the blueprints. You are finding the beam. And you are pulling it clean." That Monday night, I sat at the kitchen table with the venue contract and my laptop and a highlighter and the folder I keep for every demolition job I have ever run. The folder is labeled with the project address and the demolition date and the estimated removal cost. This folder had no address. It just had a name. Fenton. The venue contract was 11 pages. I read every one. The cancellation clause was on page 7, section 4.3. Cancellation within 48 hours of the event date results in forfeiture of the deposit. The venue reserves the right to retain the rental space for the originally scheduled date and time. But section 6.1 was the one that mattered. All events exceeding 30 guests require a licensed catering vendor under contract with the venue. The venue's food service permit does not extend to uncontracted food preparation or service. In the absence of a licensed caterer on record, the venue may not serve food or alcoholic beverages for the event. The catering vendor on record was Monica Ives. Monica's contract was secured by my American Express hold. Remove the hold, and the contract terminates. Remove the contract, and the venue cannot legally serve food or alcohol. The party becomes 60 people in a room with a banner and napkins printed with anchors and nothing to eat and nothing to drink. One beam. One pull. The whole building comes down. Tuesday and Wednesday, I documented everything. I printed the Amex statements showing every charge tied to the party and the cruise. I printed the cruise line's modification log showing Drake's name on the cabin reassignment. I printed the unauthorized charge detail, $1,800 shore excursions, $1,400 premium drink package, $1,600 specialty dining. I printed Monica Ives' catering contract with my signature and my card number and my name at the top. I put everything in the Fenton folder, and I set the tiger cowrie shell on top of it. By Wednesday night, I had the full picture. $42,500 on my card for a family that had decided my children were a liability and my presence was a prop. Every number was documented. Every charge was traceable. Every decision my family made was recorded in a ledger that my brother did not know existed because Drake Fenton has never in his life tracked a receipt. Thursday night, 9 p.m. Lainey and Nico were asleep down the hall. Lainey's door was open the way it always is because she does not like it closed. I could see the glow of her nightlight from the kitchen, the one shaped like a seashell that she picked out herself at Target. Nico's door was shut because he is 11 and 11-year-olds need doors that close. Carver sat across from me at the kitchen table with a cup of black coffee. The folder of documents was between us. The Amex statements, the cruise line modification log, the venue contract with the 48-hour clause highlighted. The tiger cowrie shell sat next to my phone. Lainey had put it there before bed because she told me it looked lonely in the truck. Carver did not tell me to do it. He did not tell me not to do it. He sat there the way a foreman sits when the operator is about to make the cut, and the foreman's job is to be present and to witness and to make sure the cut is clean. I picked up my phone and called Monica Ives. Monica, this is Doyle Fenton. I need to cancel the catering hold for the Palmetto Room event tomorrow night. Remove my card from everything. Catering, bar, waitstaff, all of it. Monica paused. I could hear her sit down. Doyle, the event is in 21 hours, 60 guests confirmed. My kitchen staff is already scheduled for a 2 p.m. prep call. The bar order has been placed with the distributor. I have 12 servers booked. Cancel it. All of it? All of it. Can you tell me what happened? My family excluded my children from the guest list, reassigned my kids' cruise cabin to my brothers-in-laws, and billed $4,800 to my credit card without my knowledge. The total on my card for an event my children are not allowed to attend is $42,500. I am removing my financial participation. Monica was quiet for 4 seconds. She had been an event planner for 20 years. She had seen families tear themselves apart over seating charts and uninvited cousins and speeches that went wrong. But I could hear in her silence that this was a new one. I will process the cancellation now. The hold will be released to your card within the hour. The bar order will be voided. My staff will be notified. She paused. Doyle, I want you to understand what this means for the event. Without the catering contract, the venue cannot operate. Their food service permit requires a licensed caterer on site for events over 30 guests. There will be no food, no bar, no service staff. The room will be a room. I understand. I am sorry about your kids, Doyle. You have nothing to be sorry for, Monica. You did your job. My family did not do theirs. She hung up. The hold was released at 9:47 p.m. $21,500 back on my card. The bar order canceled. The kitchen staff notified. The wait staff pulled. In 21 hours, 60 people would arrive at the Palmetto Room expecting a full dinner and open bar and a family celebrating a Caribbean cruise, and they would find a room with a banner and empty tables and nothing else. Carver looked at me across the table. He tapped the rim of his coffee cup once, our signal from the job site. Structure cleared. I almost called Dad that night. Almost gave him a 12-hour warning so he could scramble. But then I looked at the single ticket sitting on the counter next to my keys, and I thought about Laney asking if the shell was junk, and I thought about Nico eating trail mix in the truck while his uncle told his father to be grateful, and they almost went away. Friday morning, 6:12 a.m. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. Dad, his voice was a whisper. Not the whisper of a man trying not to wake someone. The whisper of a man whose voice has been compressed by panic into the smallest possible sound. I could hear Mom in the background. She was saying something I could not make out. A door closed. Doyle, the caterer, just called. Monica Ives. She said the hold was canceled. The entire catering contract is void. The event is in 14 hours. The food is gone. The bar is gone. The staff is gone. Tell me you did not do this. I did not do anything, Dad. I undid something. I removed my card from an event my children were not welcome at. This is not about the children. This is about 60 guests and a venue and your mother's reputation. She has been planning this for 3 months. She has been planning it on my credit card for 3 months. $21,500 in catering. $6,200 for the venue. $1,400 for the photo wall. She asked me to handle the food. I handled it. Doyle, listen to me. His voice shifted from whisper to the low, controlled tone he used when I was 17, and he wanted me to understand that his version of events was the only one that existed. You are going to pick up the phone and call Monica Ives and put your card back on that hold. You are going to do it in the next 30 minutes. And then we are going to forget this happened. I am not going to forget that Drake moved my kids' cruise cabin to the Greers and billed $4,800 to my card without asking. I am not going to forget that you sat at your kitchen table with a seating chart and did not say a word when your other son told me to leave my children at home. And I am not going to put my card back on anything. You are destroying this family over a children's ticket? I am not destroying anything, Dad. I demolish things that are not structurally sound. The beam was my credit card. The structure was never mine to maintain. Doyle, please. The Greers are at the Marriott. Celine's mother called Drake at 5 this morning to confirm the dinner menu. There is no dinner menu. You cut my children from the guest list. I cut my card from the invoice. The math is simple. 4 seconds of silence. Then Dad's voice broke. Not in half. In thirds. The sound of a man who has just realized that the son he treated as a line item was the one holding the foundation, and the foundation is now gone. The guests are already arriving, Doyle. Some of them drove in last night. Then someone should tell them to eat before they come. He hung up. Or the phone slipped. I heard the click, and then nothing. Drake called 14 caterers before 8 a.m. Everyone was booked. A Friday night in March in Jacksonville is not a day you find a caterer with 12 hours notice. He called a barbecue truck. Booked, he called a taco stand from the Riverside Market, not available for private events. He called the hotel restaurant where the Greers were staying. They did not offer off-site catering. At 8:40 a.m., 9 hours before the first guests were scheduled to arrive, Drake Fenton called Domino's. 12 large pizzas. 4 orders of breadsticks. 2 liters of Coke, 2 liters of Sprite. Total, $387.40. Delivered to the Palmetto Room at 5:15 p.m., 45 minutes before the first guests walked through the door. 60 people arrived at the Palmetto Room expecting a sit-down dinner with a carving station and a raw bar and champagne flutes, and an open bar with a signature cocktail Celine had named the Caribbean Breeze. They found a banner that read Fenton Family Cruise 2026 in gold letters. A photo wall with a cruise ship backdrop. Napkins printed with anchors stacked next to paper plates. And 12 pizza boxes arranged on a folding table next to plastic cups and 2-liter bottles of soda with the price stickers still on them. The folding table. The same kind of table Drake had compared to my business. The same kind of table he associated with garage sales and church parking lots and lives that did not matter. And now, it was the centerpiece of his $27,700 party, holding $387 worth of Domino's. Max and Dot stood next to the photo wall in their matching Ralph Lauren outfits. Navy blue with white piping. The creases still sharp. Pepperoni grease on Dot's collar within 10 minutes. Max held a breadstick in one hand and a plastic cup of Sprite in the other. He looked confused. He was 10 years old, and he understood that something had gone wrong, but he did not understand that the something was his father. The Greers arrived at 6:15. Mrs. Greer wore a blazer. Mrs. Greer wore pearl earrings and a silk scarf. They stood in the doorway of the Palmetto Room for 6 seconds without moving. Mr. Greer's eyes went from the pizza boxes to the plastic cups to the banner to the folding table to his daughter, who was standing near the photo wall with a paper plate and an expression that suggested she had been smiling for so long her face had forgotten how to do anything else. Mr. Greer found Drake near the photo wall. His voice was low, but it carried the way voices carry when a man who is used to being in control finds himself in a room that is not. Drake, this is not what we were told to expect. Celine described a formal seated dinner with a full bar. This is a pizza party in a rented room. Drake's jaw worked. There was a last-minute catering issue, completely out of my control. Mr. Greer looked at the nearest Domino's box. Pepperoni, the lid was open. 3 slices were missing. A napkin with an anchor on it was stuck to the cardboard with grease. We flew in from Ponte Vedra, Mr. Greer continued quietly. We cleared our calendar. Diane bought a new dress. He looked at Drake one more time. Out of your control. The Greers left the Palmetto Room at 6:55 p.m., 40 minutes. They did not board the cruise the next morning. They drove back to Ponte Vedra without saying goodbye to Celine. Mrs. Greer texted Celine from the car, We will talk when you are home. They did not talk for 3 weeks. At 10 a.m., while Drake was still cleaning pizza grease off the photo wall backdrop, Celine called me. Her voice was tight and careful, the voice of a woman who has spent the morning watching her parents leave and her husband unravel and is now trying to negotiate from a position she no longer holds. Doyle, I am willing to personally pay for the catering if you put your card back on the hold. I can transfer $5,000 today. $5,000. For a $21,500 catering bill. Less than a quarter. Offered 6 hours after the event collapsed. I was at Jacksonville Beach. The morning was warm and the sand was white and the tide was halfway out and the beach smelled like salt and sunscreen and the particular freedom of a Saturday morning when nobody is telling you where to stand or what to wear. Nico was 40 yards down the waterline, throwing a tennis ball for a neighbor's golden retriever. The dog was faster than Nico's arm and kept bringing the ball back before Nico was ready. And Nico kept laughing at the dog's impatience, which made the dog bark, which made Nico laugh harder. It was the kind of noise that Drake would have called a disruption, and I called being 11. Lainey was crouched in the wet sand with her shoes off, her knees in the foam, looking for shells. She had found 2 coquinas and a broken sand dollar, and she was lining them up by size on a flat piece of driftwood the way she lines them up on the windowsill at home. She was quiet and focused and careful with each one, turning them over, checking for chips, placing them in order. She had been doing this since she was 4 years old. She had never once needed a matching outfit to do it. I almost did not answer the phone, almost let it ring and go to voicemail and die in the same digital graveyard where all of Drake's credibility now lived. But it was not Drake's number. It was Celine's. Her voice was tight and careful, the voice of a woman who has spent the morning watching her parents leave and her husband unravel, and is now trying to negotiate from a position she does not hold anymore. Doyle, I understand you are upset. I am willing to personally pay for the catering if you put your card back on the hold. I can transfer $5,000 today. Right now. $5,000 for a $21,500 catering bill. Less than a quarter. Offered 10 hours after 60 people ate Domino's under a cruise banner while her children wore pepperoni-stained Ralph Lauren. Tell Drake the demolition is complete. I hung up. I put the phone in my pocket. I walked across the sand to where Lainey was kneeling in the surf line. She held up a small pink shell with a smooth interior and no chips. Dad, look at this one. That is a good one. It is not chipped. Then it is perfect. She put it in her bucket. The waves came in and went out. Nico threw the ball. The dog brought it back. The morning was warm and the sand was clean, and nobody asked me for a ticket or a credit card or a smile I did not mean. My children were right where they belonged. Not in matching outfits. Not behind a photo wall. Not hidden from people who needed to be impressed. Right here. In the sand. In their own clothes. Being exactly who they are. If you have ever stood on a beach with your children and realized that the people who excluded them had never once stopped to watch them line up shells in the sand, subscribe to Family Secret Tales. Monday morning, I filed the Amex dispute from my office at the Fenton Demolition Yard. The paperwork took 40 minutes. I attached the cruise line's modification log showing Drake's name and my confirmation number. I attached the unauthorized charge detail, $1,800 in shore excursions I did not book, $1,400 in drink packages I did not request, $1,600 in specialty dining reservations I did not make. The agent asked if I had authorized any of these modifications. I told her no. She asked if the person who made the modifications had my written permission to use my card. I told her no. She opened the investigation. The $8,600 cabin charge was flagged as an unauthorized modification because the booking change was made by someone other than the cardholder without documented consent. Drake's name was on every modification timestamp in the cruise line system. He had used my confirmation number, which had been visible in a family group email sent in January. He had treated my credit card the way he treated my presence at the family table, something to use when convenient and discard when inconvenient. By March 26th, the dispute was resolved. $13,400 reversed to my account. Drake received a letter from Amex's fraud department requesting documentation of his authorization to modify the booking. He did not respond to the letter because there was no authorization, and he knew it. The letter sat on his kitchen counter for 2 weeks until Celine found it and read it and sat down at the table without speaking for a long time. The $21,500 catering hold had been released to my card on Thursday night. The $6,200 venue deposit was partially forfeited. $2,400 per the 48-hour clause, $3,800 refunded. The $1,400 photo wall and decoration charge was not refundable because the materials had already been installed. Total cost to Doyle Fenton for pulling the beam: $3,800 in forfeited deposits and decoration costs. Total cost to Drake Fenton for building a party on someone else's credit card: his in-laws, his wife's trust, his family's reputation, 14 unsuccessful caterer calls, and 12 boxes of Dominoes under a gold banner that nobody wanted to stand under. Mom called once more. The following Tuesday, her voice was flat and tired and emptied of the warmth and the careful redirections and the soft coaching she usually wraps around everything she says. Your father has not spoken to Drake since the party. He sat in his recliner all weekend and watched the Weather Channel and did not eat dinner Saturday or Sunday. Celine's parents will not return our calls. The cruise was miserable. Nobody took photos. The cabin your kids were supposed to have was empty the entire trip. 7 days. Nobody slept in it. The beds were made every morning by housekeeping, and nobody was there to unmake them. That cabin cost me $8,600, Mom. Drake stole it from my children and gave it to people he wanted to impress. And you knew the whole time. She did not deny it. Her breathing was uneven. What do you want, Doyle? I wanted my kids at the party. That is all I ever wanted. 1 table. 3 chairs. Cargo shorts and sneakers and Nico's big laugh and Lainey's cup with the sippy lid so she does not spill. I wanted my kids to eat dinner with their family and be part of the photo and wear whatever they were wearing and be enough. That is what I wanted. You gave me a single ticket and told me to smile. She was quiet for a long time. The kitchen clock ticked, the same clock that had ticked in every kitchen in every house she had ever lived in. Then she said something I did not expect. Lainey's cup had a lid? Always, she knows she spills. She brings her own cup with the lid. Mom did not respond. I heard her breathe once, hard, and then the line went dead. That was the last time we spoke in March. Drake stood in the Palmetto room at 7:15 in the morning after the party. The cleaning crew had not arrived yet. The banner was still hanging from the ceiling mounts, one corner sagging where the tape had given way overnight. Fenton Family Cruise 2026 in gold letters, the gold flaking at the edges where moisture from the poorly ventilated room had gotten under the vinyl. The pizza boxes were stacked by the door. 12 of them. The top box was still open, 2 slices left, cold and curled at the edges. The napkins with the anchors were scattered across the floor like confetti that nobody wanted to throw. The photo wall backdrop was still standing, smudged with grease fingerprints from guests who had leaned against it while eating slices off paper plates. The cruise ship image in the center had a pizza sauce streak across the bow. The single ticket was on the floor near table 4. Someone had dropped it or set it down or let it fall without thinking. 1 ticket. 1 name. Doyle Fenton. Drake bent down and picked it up. He read it. He turned it over. He folded it once, then again, and put it in his pocket. He stood there with the ticket in his pocket and the empty room around him and the sagging banner above him and the smell of cold pizza and stale soda and the particular silence of a venue that was supposed to be the most impressive night of his year. He stood there for 11 minutes. The cleaning crew arrived at 7:26 with a cart of trash bags and a mop bucket. Drake walked past them without speaking. He got into his leased BMW and sat in the parking lot for another 3 minutes before he started the engine. The matching Ralph Lauren tags from Max and Dot's outfits were on the passenger seat, removed before the dry cleaning drop-off. He had kept them. He did not know why. Saturday afternoon. April 5th. My kitchen in Jacksonville. The windowsill above the sink is full. Lainey's seashells are lined up by size the way she has lined them up since she was 5. Coquinus on the left, sand dollars in the middle, and the tiger cowrie in the center, the stripy one with the chip on the edge. The one she gave me for the truck because chip things need someone to hold them. It is back on the windowsill now. Home. Nico is at the table building a model bridge from popsicle sticks and white glue. He wants to be an engineer. He builds things instead of breaking them, which means he is already better at this than I am. The bridge has 14 supports and a span of 22 inches, and he has been working on it for 3 days, and it has not collapsed once. Carver Dunn is at the counter with a cup of coffee and a bag of kolaches from the Cuban bakery on Beach Boulevard. He is watching Nico's bridge with the quiet attention of a man who has spent 30 years studying structures and knows a sound one when he sees it. The Amex dispute confirmation is on the table. $13,400 reversed. The $27,700 party total is documented in a folder marked Fenton Demolition, Closed Project. The single ticket is in the folder too. I kept it, not as a trophy, as a receipt. Lainey comes in from the backyard with sandy knees and a new shell in each hand. She sets them on the windowsill, adjusts the lineup, moves the tiger cowrie 1 inch to the right to make room. She looks at me. Dad, can we go to the beach today? I look at her. At Nico's bridge. At Carver with his kolaches. At the windowsill full of shells that my daughter has collected and organized and cared for with the same patience and attention that my family mistook for chaos. We can go to the beach every day, Lainey. Nobody has to give us a ticket. Carver taps the side of his coffee cup once. Structure cleared. The tiger cowrie catches the light on the windowsill. Chipped edge and all. The most valuable shell in the collection because somebody thought it was worth holding.